Hello, 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 Curvies. Happy Thursday. Right on. You guys know what? Thanks for coming through, Curvies. I hope you smash that like button and smash the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring my bell so you can get notified next time I upload a video or come live like right now when I got something to talk about. And you know I got something to talk about today because we're going to be talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac. Yep, we are. We have to. I haven't been reviewing the whole season because it hasn't been worth it to my chakra alignment therapy. Okay, all of the distress that's happening over there in the Potomac streets is enough to disalign my chakras. And your girl's been meditating and trying to do the right thing. I've been drinking my water. I've been eating right. I've been moving my body. I'm doing it over here, And so I was like, that is not something I feel like I can handle messing with my schism. You know what I'm saying? With my schism. Yes. So I decided, you don't even really have to watch. And so I would watch the little clips that pop up on social media or whatever, as far as Real Housewives of Potomac was concerned. Or, I did dabble once or twice because Emmanuel from Manny's TV Talk, shout out, smash his like buttons and everything. He was like, Curves, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. And I was like, okay, fine. So I went over there and I dragged my eyeballs over there and my earlobes over to the streets of Potomac for some BS. There was some BS over there, you guys. They took my favorite show. Did you guys know? If you're a new Curvy, you may or may not know that part of the inception of the channel, what finally made me go when God said go, was Real Housewives of Potomac, and when Candiace got mollywopped. And all the people in the YouTube streets were arguing with me, talking about she deserved it. She was asking for it because she posed a hypothetical question to a grown woman. And I was like, I say not. And I was like totally by myself. So I was like, well, don't talk about it, be about it. And so I started LRGA Curves over here. That was some of my first videos are in fact the Real Housewives of Potomac and the covering of what I thought was a very unfair fight over there in the Potomac streets. But we don't have to stay over there. Hello, Mademoiselle. Thanks for coming through. It's always a pleasure to see you on these YouTube streets, and especially over here as part of my curvy crew. And Bianca Edwards, shout out. Love her. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. Love it. Love you. Right on. So like I was saying, dragged my eyeballs and earlobes over to the Real Housewives of Potomac and caught a couple of episodes and was very disappointed. And the devolving that we saw from such an opportunity of Black excellence is a sad sight to me. Because, I love Black joy. And, actually, okay. So I've been going through this Black transition too, because I'm like, look, I'm not a color in a crayon box. I'm from somewhere and it's not Crayola. Okay. So I've been using the term melanated, strongly melanated. Yes, because we all have some. But I am not relegated to your crayon boxes. Okay. I'm a melanated, beautiful being on this earth, spreading my light and my joy. So when I saw that this Black excellence show was on, I was like, all right, some girls from the East Coast, Potomac, very affluent area. They're sassy over there. They got the Jack and Jill going on, even though at first, truth be told, Jack and Jill didn't even want their name brought up in association with the Real Housewives of Potomac. And based on this season, the first season that they finally brought it up, and it's the first season that it devolved. Bad look, ladies. Bad look. They told you to keep their name out their mouth for all these seasons, and then they finally let you say Jack and Jill and talk about how y'all met at Jack and Jill and used to find the girls at Jack and Jill and Jill and Jack. And then you would have the Jack of the Giselle, act a jackass and not want to do her job. and create such a toxic, dysfunctional, negative place. This was Mean Girls on Geritol. Okay? I said it, and I can, because that's what I saw. These are women of a certain age who don't want to break hips. Okay? And she's in the streets of Potomac spreading dissent, chaos, lies, gossip, rumors, implications, constantly coming for other people's marriages that she doesn't have, that didn't work out for her. And I heard hers started out with a fight in the freaking parking lot of a church, allegedly. Giselle. Fighting in the parking lot of churches over good Jamal Bryant, allegedly. Before he was your wife. Yes, allegedly. That's the alleged. And then you became Mrs. First Lady. I was very impressed with Giselle the first couple of seasons. I was like, oh, she's a strong character, isn't she? I love strong melanated women. I love them. They're strong, and then there's whack. She's just whack. She was like the meanest girl from, what was that movie with Spike Lee? And it had the light girls and the dark girls, and they did that whole musical number. Remember that? Yeah. And remember the meanest of these in that scenario, the meanest of the light girls, who was always pulling some stuff. Just mean for no reason. Just mean because she could be. Just lie because it was Tuesday. If it ended in a Y, she was lying and could get away with it. Giselle? Anyway, so I decided to watch the Real Housewives of Potomac Reunion Part 1 because I had already heard that the reason I started the channel was leaving the show. And that's going back to Candiace. I love me some Candiace. Probably the same reason I love me some Heavenly. Because they both know how to use words. I fancy myself a little bit of a wordsmith myself, you know. But I'm not trying to throw no hands. I'm not trying to throw hands. I got words for that. I like the equalizer type cussing out where I don't have to use no swear words and there's white meat everywhere. Okay? That was one of my first lessons in how to cuss right. You don't even have to use swear words to get to white meat. I learned that from the equalizer. He would leave them shredded. Remember that old show, the very first one, not all the remakes, the very first one with the guy who turned into Hannibal Lecter. Remember him? He was the very first equalizer, if you didn't know, you guys. The one who was like, with a bit of Chianti. Remember that when he was in the Silence of the Lambs with Jodie Foster, right? Jodie Foster? Yeah. Anyway, I'm all over the place. Yes, that's where this has me because I had already heard that Candiace wasn't going to be returning. And people reported it, not all about the tea. So, of course, I believed it. Anyway, I was like, why would she be announcing it before the reunion? It must be bad. If she's announcing before all the reunions even aired, it was like they had reunion number 1. And then the announcement from people that Candiace was departing the Real Housewives of Potomac cage fight. Because that's what it's turned into, is a cage fight. And when you're a wordsmith and you like using words because, you know, in a civilized society, when you're a lady, a proper lady, you know things from a thesaurus, a dictionary and whatnot. And you can verbally joust with the best of them. Not to be confused with John, that we're going on season 11 to Tammy's, okay? But you can joust. Remember when the horse and the rider. Okay, remember when the horse and the guy was on the horse and he had that long stick and he would run towards the guy with the other long stick That was called jousting. So there's a verbal way to do that. When you have enough words in your mind that your neurons and synapses can get off in time for you to say in a way that there's white meat everywhere. And if your opponent in this verbal joust is not so able to shield themselves with their own verbal jousting, then technically that person lost. And they just have to go on about their business and either learn how or stay home, right? I mean, there is an either or, Giselle. Okay, there's a whole either or. But you just keep picking the worst, okay? So when she announced that, I was like, ooh, now you got to see this, Curves. You got to see this. So I go and I watch the show. And the first thing that pissed me off, I'm going to let my visuals play now because I should be catching up to where this is all building in a second. 12 minutes in. Thanks again for coming through to LRGA Curves. Make sure you smash those buttons. If you're happy and you know it, smash them. If you're mad and you know it, smash them. Get it out. Smash them and ring shit, okay? But let's get to these comments also while I bring this. All I have to do is move my head. IRL, my head is big, you guys. Rest in peace, Dad had a big head. Yep, he did. He did. So, and I got blessed with it. So let me move my head a little and I'll start playing this. Can two things happen at once? Yep. Because two things can be true at once, y'all. That's why it can happen. A whole new world. Okay, Bianca Edwards, thanks for coming through. Couture Bay. Yes. Thank you for being here. Mademoiselle, yes. Adults use words, and they're usually at home teaching their children to use words because most people don't want to have to go to court. Okay? Most people don't want to have to go to court. Yes, what's this say? Pray Candiace got some good news and said, screw this. Yes, right? I hope she did too. I don't like that anyone who can keep it intellectually. Remember, Katie wasn't to be played. Oh yeah, and then they had to go to her mental health and pretend like they cared and make it all a big thing, you know. Katie, she just she was bathing in the sunshine. She saw the whole thing go down at P. Diddy's, you guys. Yep, she sure did. She said she should have recorded it. I'm glad that Candiace is gone. They'll have to find a new punching bag for these viewers, right? Right? They don't really deserve her anyway. They don't really deserve her. She was everything. She was the existential housewife, a real housewife, a new bride, could get pregnant, has a singing career, has this turmoil, this inner workings with her mom and generational wealth also storyline. It was a beautiful, beautiful opportunity. And Kankle's here. Stop now. Look, she's all Giselle's the devil. Giselle's the devil. That's what it says right here. I agree, Giselle. Yeah, Giselle's the devil. Pretty much. Because the things that she did and said at this freaking reunion were very offensive to me as a viewer. Not only as a lover of Candiace, but the amount of gas that this green-eyed monster can produce is amazing. And she must be sitting at home sniffing this shit because she believes it all and she's able to say it so like it's real. It's so real. But it's not real because we all have eyes and ears and saw what we saw and heard. Jizzy the devil, we saw and heard you for seasons. The first it was Karen in the taxes, Pizzagate, the t-shirts because you were being a bully to your friend from Jack and Jill. Then you went after Ashley and Michael, but it was all like Kiko. You hardly like they're the real monsters. Also, baby hands over there and his essay things going around groping grown men on camera and nothing being done. And Jizzy didn't have nothing to say about that. He never made her uncomfortable. And he was constantly a bright shade of red from obvious intoxication. Okay? But she never said anything about that. But then we had Monique and the trainer. And then her off meeting after Andy got the baby shower. And remember, after the baby shower, Giselle got a meeting together and was trying to come after Monique. At that meeting was Karen, who got off so light as a feather, didn't she? Karen's like a duck in these Potomac streets. Nothing's hitting her. She said, I am the fence, darling. She's not letting none of it affect her. Okay? But that conversation ended up all in the lap of Candiace, who was the one who told everything. So that's like that example of when you know your girlfriend or your boyfriend's friend or whatever they partner is cheating, you probably might not want to be the one to tell them because you're going to be the one that is X'd out of everything when they get back together anyway. It was none of your business. Right? So Candiace, being the upstanding citizen that she is, was like, I want no parts of this, and mentioned it. We don't even know that Karen mentioned it as much as Candiace mentioned it. But somehow Giselle was able to spin it that Candiace was the bringer of it, I guess, because actually it was Giselle who should have been getting mollywopped at the freaking place in the first place. Because not only was that her hand that pushed Monique, it was her mouth and her brain, Pinky in the brain, that freaking had this meeting that was talking about Gigi's rumors about the trainer, bringing it all to the girls. And we know Charisse had something to do in there too. Allegedly, all of this stuff happened. But all of them got off scot-free. Who got blamed? Candiace. Who was the darkest person at the table? Candiace. I'm going to bring it all back to everything, y'all. So when the darkest person in the room is looked to, I'm telling you, almost every video I've been doing, I'm obsessed at this point with the phenomenon of when there's something that's going wrong and you look around and the darkest person in the room is to blame. The most melanated person in the room is to blame. How is that? How is that, Earth people? How are we letting that slide that this green-eyed monster, Jizzy the Devil, called a meeting, held a meeting, started the rumor, said on camera, is that his boy? But Candiace gets mollywopped. Candiace's mouth is a problem. Candiace's words are the problem. That's another part of colorism and racism. Monitoring my words. We got freedom of motherfucking speech in America, okay? Okay? Therefore, in my verbal joustation, I can say whatever I want to try to get to your white meat, especially if you're coming for me and mine. Because that's where it should be able to stay. But also, if you're going to use your verbal jousting skills, don't just use them for blabble, blabble, blabble lies and gaslighting like our girl here. Like Ray told her, pretty's fading, girl. Pretty's fading. You're going to have to get somebody who can tolerate your spirit. Pretty only lasts so long, and it's only skin deep because we see this monster. It's literally like she created a monster. She took something so beautiful, which is herself, and she acts in a way that's so contrary to exactly how she looks. It's like a mind fuck, actually, when you have to deal with it. But how is it that Candiace ended up the one that was the beneficiary of the mollywopping when this monster started it? I don't understand. She talked about the son's DNA on the show. Chris and Monique's son's DNA on the show. She said that on the freaking film. Then they acted like it never happened. I don't know where the 8th housewife is in the streets of Potomac. She is always asleep or at a spa or out of the country, because when we need her, she is nowhere to be found in the streets of Potomac. Okay? She be popping up on the other ones and doing a nice flashback to exactly the opposite of what they said. Like, okay, well, they did it when eyebrows was like Chris was coming on to me, and he was not bothered with eyebrows. Not in the least. So it worked then. But I want it to work on Giselle. Where's the flashback when she's like, I never said he SA'd. But you said on camera, oh yeah, Chris was out there grabbing butts and making passes. Both forms of sexual, one's a sexual, they don't like us to, I don't know what's wrong in the world. It's total freedom of speech, but you can't even say what things are when they're really what it is. And then we can have a person with these green eyes conflate issues and pretend like she didn't, with implication and words on cameras, repeatedly say words that people use when they're sexually harassed. We could say that on YouTube. Sexual harassment is also not okay. Now, I don't know if there's a law for it all the way, but yeah, well, in the workplace there is, and they're at work. So she was basically saying that Chris was sexually harassing her at work by making her go into the room. They were jumping on one of the words, when it's all the words strung together in a sentence is what you need to listen to, Giselle. Because, yeah. I can't. And then her little friend Robin getting totally off scot-free to not have to talk about it all season. And then when I say it's about her husband's lip penis going to hotel rooms to pay for Canadian chicks to get passed off to the next one, allegedly. Because when she was doing her interview rounds, somebody go find it. When she was doing her interview rounds, they said that the girl said that she was mad at Juan because she was there for him and somebody else showed up at the door one day. Mm-hmm. Allegedly. Go check out the thing. Go check it out. Are you playing for me? Oh, there we go. Oh no, it was playing. It's just her face that long. I knew I was going to be on her that long, you guys. That I literally left her face up that long. Oh my gosh. But I can't with Giselle. And you know who else I can't with? Andy's motherfucking ass. Has he ever sat down on the Real Housewives of New Jersey and said some shit like, oh, I expect everybody to leave here with this shit resolved? Has he ever taken that tone with them? That's the shit Nene was talking about in her little freaking complaint and freaking suit against them. How you treat different melanated casts differently. You do them different. Period, point blank. All the way through the introduction to your little freaking reunion when you try to pit them against each other and then try to fake like you want reconciliation. But you're not dealing with the problem who's not the reconciliation. How did you let this bitch show up to 11 episodes and not do nothing to interact with the people she was there to interact with without a conversation? How did that get to be happening? Every time we saw this sour face, she was like, I'm not interacting with them. I don't want to see them. I don't have anything to say with them. And she started everything. Everything. Those girls would gladly be her friend if she could act right for 28 seconds. But she can't. It's impossible. Her green-eyed devil ass won't let her. It's impossible. But Andy keeps looking at Candiace. Ashley turned to Candiace. Even Wendy's ass turned to Candiace. Mia's ass turned to Candiace. I love love that Karen was riding the motherfucking fence because she didn't say shit to Candiace about nothing.
I never accused him of sexual assault. Excuse me for saying the words. S-A. But listen to...
You guys, shout out to Shanitra in these YouTube streets. I was over at her thing yesterday. She had a 2-hour freaking live, man. I put in her comments, I was like, thank God somebody went and found this soundbite for me. Because I was like, I thought I was fucking crazy. I was like, am I the only one? That she's sitting up here, she's like stone cold lying. She is lying when she said she never said that. And for her to get to sit up here at this thing and pretend like she didn't start everything we're currently experiencing as a negative, dysfunctional, toxic behavior. Somebody, I don't know how to spell, you know that, like just nasty. She's nasty. Like in the back of your throat after you vomit. Nasty. She literally leaves a bad taste in your mouth with the experience that she's caused this show to devolve to. And they're looking at her like she's the golden child? Only if you like golden shit. Literally. Because that's what she turned the show into. Everybody she's mad at and refusing to film with, pretending like they're the person that's wrong for responding to her attacks on their literal families that she doesn't have with her rented boyfriends. Where was Jason? Why wasn't Jason with her at the freaking reunion? Did he find out how she is? And he didn't look back? Is that what had happened? Did he find out that Pretty's only skin deep? Is that what had happened? I don't know. What's good, Corey? Thanks for coming through. Emmanuel says, Curves, did you see a leak came in this morning saying Wendy is planning on announcing her exit after the, yeah. And that's how that, I bet, look, as viewers, we're seeing obvious things play out. How these light-skinned ladies for seasons can go after legitimate, bona fide, strongly melanated family units. And even in Chris's, because there's all of his whole black in-law family also. Be the ones to succumb to production's lack of protecting them, lack of nipping this shit in the bud, and have to get off such a huge platform where honestly people really don't want to go. I mean, they don't want to leave if they don't have to. But if it's not worth your peace, it's not worth your peace. And unlike Melody, who I think should never leave because she created that shit, all the other people should have to go. Why should she ever have to get off her creation? And even Mariah, I'm not sure how she ever had to get off her own creation. Like, that's just wrong. But Candiace didn't create it. She came in a couple seasons later. She's had a great run. Wendy, she came in. She didn't even come in hot. And look how production did her. They told her to talk about her freaking degrees. They told her. She, in those initial interviews, she's like, production was the one that was like, we'll talk about that, you know? Listening to the wrong things will get you at the end of the couch. Mm-hmm. How's Ashley's big foreheaded ass at the end of the couch and still on the show? Wendy better not. I mean, if Wendy, I don't think Wendy should have to go, but it might have been too much on her family, because she has a real family, and it's hard to have your mom like seen like that. And I mean, the bottom line is, if she's not on the show, then it can't happen to her mom. So maybe that's the way she's looking at it, like ultra protection. Like, I never want to experience that again, because you can't control crazy. You know, who would have known that Nneka, her sister from her own country, would have done that to her? Because everything that happened to Nneka was off camera. So for her to bring it to camera was her trying to harm Wendy. And it worked. I don't even care if it happened or not. It happened off camera. The way Juan didn't have to talk about it, the way Robin didn't have to talk about it was completely acceptable. We didn't hear shit about Juan taking his limp penis over to the hotel to pay for the lady to stay in Potomac. We didn't hear not one word except for lies that only Robin believes. Okay? So if Wendy really is leaving and Nneka gets to stay, Nneka's on my list. Because I don't like that. That's some nasty work, sister. That's some nasty, 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 nasty work with your long-fingered ass. That was a nasty way to come in. And now you're all over there at Nicki Minaj concerts with the green-eyed bandits and the big four-headed liar. And Charisse, the tipsy one, who was really only trying to save the champagne bottle as far as I could see. Anyway, I seriously think Giselle has issues, mental. Then I cannot believe she would sit in a pulpit every Sunday and act like this evil. Well, I'm telling you, there's a whole rumor allegedly that she got Jamal. She fought somebody in the church parking lot, you guys. So she's always been who she is. Allegedly. Yes, say hello to the curvy crew, you guys. Right on. They're all doing this, blaming the darkest ones for everything and hating them. Yes, it's sad. Okay, thank you, Mademoiselle. I thought it was crazy. It's a freaking phenomenon. Not a funk phenomenon like Armand Van Halen. Check out the song, one of my favorites. I could dance to that from Tuesday to Thursday. Don't ask me, I might tell you one day. It's a phenomenon. You guys. You literally look around and blame the darkest one. Giselle was at that table. Karen was at that table. Candiace was at that table. I don't even remember if Ashley was at that table because it hasn't got brought up, with all the focus landing on Candiace, who did not call the meeting and told everything. Ended up mollywopped. It was her fault for the meeting that Giselle started. Because ultimately, didn't Monique's ass never apologize because she started a rumor about my family? Please. And it was your green-eyed bandit friend Giselle's ass. Said it on camera and everything. Always. It's very sad. Very, very sad. Nneka will find out. If Nneka's long-fingered ass stays around next season, Nneka will find out the same way we all see. Unless the paradigm shift is completed by then and we take our rightful place in the universe as rulers. But we'll see. Yep, it's crazy. Giselle is so beautiful, but so nasty and evil. Yes, it's bizarre. It's like, oh my gosh, what a waste. I'm like, is she a reptilian? I'm not sure. Some of her behavior is very colonizer. Very colonizer. Just rude for no reason. Just come over here, just imposing your stuff, all based off lies. And then you whitewash history. And now the natives are the savages and they're the ones who have to leave. So yeah. Okay. Whatever, Jess. Whatever. Andy is trash. How dare you sit in front of these women and start the conversation with a threat? In my eyes, that was a threat. Because he doesn't start the conversation like that with everybody. So you're already doing something different, sir. And by that alone, that isolation of the word starting for a reunion, talking about we need to come to some resolution. He never told Teresa's ass that. The beginning of New Jersey, she's been arguing with her sister-in-law for 28 seasons. And Andy loves it. He doesn't say nothing They don't have to reconcile. They both still have a job. They just all get to switch alliances over there. They all still have what they have. When Tamra and Vicky were dragging that poor girl Jesus Jugs through the street by her ankles, they didn't have to get along. The ankles had to leave. You guys, when has he ever started the reunion off saying some BS like that? And then he's Jewish, right? So he's like, oh, Jesus can't even fix this. What is he freaking? Is that anti-Semitic reverse? Like, I don't know. I'm asking for somebody who like might care. Like, dude, if somebody would have said something about, oh, Jew something, it would have been such a problem. I just don't like that he, like, because it was fake. Andy is a trash box. I don't know how all his cases are going. Because in his response to that allegation that he does the hyena with with his employees, the only part he said was that he doesn't do it with employees at work, I think he said, or something like that. Like, it wasn't like a no, I don't do that. Is it true that Jocelyn changed her name to Cocalina? Did she really? I saw that, but it was close to April 1st. I went right over to her Instagram and I didn't see the post. Yes, Andy is trashy and he has no credibility. I think I just heard he sent a dick pic to Kelly Ripa. He's nasty. That's nasty. And she's married with kids. I wonder, did she reply with a boob? I don't know. Yep, it starts with the neck. Yes, Auntie is the truth, right? They should absolutely compare Giselle to the woman who lied on Emmett Till. She's a bull-faced liar. It's very, very dangerous how they all got to sit up there and skew that shit and turn around to Candiace, who was the victim of these lies, and tell her not only they gaslit her, they were like, oh, you're crazy. You can't make it like that. That's just too strong. Let's finish listening to what she says.
What she says after she finishes talking to Candiace, what she goes and does. Proposition her at the bar, was feeling her butt. Yes, it's spring break. Let's just be clear. Proposition her at the bar and was feeling her butt. Okay.
That's SA, you guys. That is sexual. That was on camera.
What she says after she finishes talking to Candiace, what she goes and does. Proposition her at the bar, was feeling her butt. Yes, it's spring break. Let's just be clear. To Candiace, what she goes and does. Proposition her at the bar, was feeling her butt. Yes, it's spring break. Let's just be clear. She goes and does. Proposition her at the bar, was feeling her butt. Yes, it's spring break. Let's just be clear. Proposition and does. Proposition her at the bar, was feeling her butt. Yes, it's spring break. Let's just be clear.
I'm just letting that play so many times because she's a freaking liar.
At the bar and was feeling her butt.
She's a liar. That's a form of sexual assault.
Features seem to make the biggest deal of
now you Robin. Okay.
Now this is
my hair has been black. So
this is gonna be another example from shout out to Shanitra. I put the full link for everything for her in the description of this video. And so this is a clip from there where she found the clip of the time that they were talking about, oh, you're too black, to Katie, I think, or to Giselle. Ashley was saying they threw their black in their face or something. talking about basically they were colorists, but there was zero outrage for that happening. Nobody said nothing about it. She didn't allege that she got death threats from it. Nothing. So it's another example of how when that line is moving that Candiace is talking about, it's not imaginary. It's a real motherfucking line that constantly moves for people. Ask Tiger Woods. They changed all the rules of freaking golf because he was so great. Think about it. Because they got to move the line when it comes to us. And like Mademoiselle is pointing out here, Black people are the worst to each other. Look at Anne Marie. Disgusting, traitorous behavior, divide and conquer. She's a fucking op. I'm glad she's off our screen. That op was there to divide and conquer. Op, Black people. We should define that. Well, I told you guys how I was transitioning from a color in a gray box to like just something else, right? Like you're not gonna relegate me. Like, don't narrate me, right? But yeah. Anne Marie is traitorous. We did a whole thing on that. Yeah, check that video out. Ooh wee. She needs help. Look, I'm Christian. I can say it. She needs Jesus. Okay? She needs Jesus. Okay? Let's let this finish playing. This is going to be Ashley's recording of talking about this whole colorist thing all the way back when Katie was on, you guys. Let me turn down this music all the way so you can hear it. Let's see. That might help because it came in low. There we go.
It's Ashley and Katie dealing with Giselle and Robin. Listen.
The glass has blonde hair. Are they trying to be white? Come on.
But they don't preach about being Black all the time. They don't have to preach about it. Just let people live.
Now you maybe could get away with being Caucasian.
But I don't.
Okay,
because
so
I'm proud to say I'm Black.
Okay.
All right. I want to ask Ashley your opinion. You're biracial. What was your reaction to all this?
I was just really surprised because the two women who have the most European features seem to make the biggest deal of race. When most of us embrace our naturalness, for some reason they don't.
What?
Huh?
It's going to play again. I had to make it rewind.
My case is as wide as my backside and I rested. The two people with the most European features make the biggest deal about being Black. Where was the outrage, y'all? Why wasn't nobody shaking the table? Because Ashley got both of them. Because Ashley got both of them, like double hopped, y'all. Make the biggest.
All this.
I was just really proud. They don't preach about being Black all the time. They don't have to preach about it. Just let people live.
Now you maybe could get away with being Caucasian.
But I don't.
Okay,
because
so
I'm proud to say I'm Black.
Okay.
All right. I want to ask Ashley your opinion. You're biracial. What was your reaction to all this?
I was just really surprised because the two women who have the most European features seem to make the biggest deal of race. When most of us embrace our naturalness, for some reason they don't.
What?
Huh?
You guys.
Biracial. What was your reaction to all this?
I was just really surprised because the two women who have the most European features seem to make the biggest deal of race. When most of us embrace our naturalness, for some reason they don't.
What?
Huh?
My case is as wide as my backside.
Huh?
Black.
Okay.
All right. I want to ask Ashley, your opinion, you're biracial. What was your reaction to all this?
I was just really surprised because the two women who have the most European features seem to make the biggest deal of race. When most of us embrace our naturalness, for some reason, they don't. Huh?
That's crazy. Nothing happened when she said that, you guys. Nothing happened. So that's another example of how this selective outrage that Giselle has towards specifically Candiace and Wendy, it's all made up. She feels like being mad at them because to her, she must not feel like they are worthy of talking back to her after she spreads vicious lies and rumors against their family that affects their livelihood and reputations professionally and privately. Saying things about a married man like, oh, he's groping women and making passes. When they go to move to neighborhoods, if nobody heard you say that was a lie, and all they heard you, that's the only episode they saw, then now they have this preconceived notion that Chris Bassett is the type of dude to just go around groping people and making passes. Because you put that shit out there, Giselle. And then you're going to sit with this face at the reunion. My eyeballs bled watching, and my earlobes were twitching too. Listening to you lie and argue with Candiace and fill the room with green gas and say that you never said that. You never said that. You never said that. You never said that. I'm like, where was the 8th housewife? Where was she? To dispel the gas and the lies that this thing has done. I would be so sad if Wendy leaves us. She doesn't deserve to go. NECA should have to go. Giselle's the devil. That's just the way that it is. The devil shouldn't. I don't watch that show called, The Guy Downstairs on ABC. It's been on for seasons now. I hurry up and switch past that channel. I don't deal in that stuff. She needs to be off our freaking TVs. Imagine her daughters. I'm going to take it there. Growing up thinking this is an appropriate way to interact with other females. Do you think her daughters are going to get mollywopped one day? Running around lying on their so-called friends, relationships and houses and situations? They're learning this from their mother. She's teaching an entire legion, because there are a lot of jizzy lovers. People love jizz on their face. Trust me, there's a whole industry for it. People love jizz on their face, okay? There's a whole legion of people that are gobbling up this jizz, you guys. Gobbling it up, thinking this is an okay way to interact with your contemporaries. And it's not. It's a disservice to the show and the platform that I loved. We shouldn't have to be subjected to somebody who's a known liar, gaslighter, traitor. Known. And then to try to say that she's getting death threats because Candiace called her what she is just more on top of crazy. She needs to be gone. If there was a way to sue for mental anguish and personal distress, personal with malice, affliction caused by a coworker, I would say that anybody who's a lawyer might want to try their hand at this, because this is just too much. It's too much. And the show started off good, and now it's not. Candiace is gone. I don't know who they're going to turn around and blame next, unless NECA stays. You know what would be really funny is if they only had light-skinned girls left, and then we'd have to see who they come after and why. It might be Ashley again for her nappy hair. Remember that season that Giselle called her hair nappy? Remember that season? And when Candiace, no, not Candiace, when Ashley's forehead of lies got to the reunion, she was like, well, Giselle, that was texture. Did she call it texturism or something? She said it was an ism for her to say that her hair was C4 and nappy, way nappier than her Jizzy's is with a good perm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Anne-Marie she is so messed up. I can't even believe she turned and blamed Giselle. She blamed Garcelle and her husband too. Her husband did too. Garcelle is fake woke because she didn't stick up for your girlfriend. I mean, your 8.5 being a freaking attacker. She attacked that woman's esophagus. 3 cocktail dresses. We went over it the other day. That's an attack. Had it been 1 cocktail dress, I wouldn't say it was an attack, and you owe that girl an apology. But 3 cocktail dresses later, Anne-Marie, that a word attack was applicable. Therefore, it wasn't an aggression, a microaggression, a macroaggression, a racism, or a Karenism, or nothing. And you needed to stand on that shit on your own because you're the one that chased her around in 3 cocktail dresses, bitch. Giselle said, Ashley, yeah, I had nappy hair, remember? You don't remember that? No, she did. She totally was like, oh my God. No, if you guys go to the link in my bio, I mean the link in the description of this video, because Shanitra, the audio that I did play earlier, she captured even that part in the audio about the texture hair part. So yeah, she really went on a deep dive, you guys. Really went on a deep dive. Let's put that there. So, I didn't want to keep us long today. I didn't have a lot to say. I can drop this link. We can talk for 10 minutes. And then I have this appointment to go to. I'm going to stop sharing. Put this link here. Maybe that'll help. You guys know Mercury is retrograde. How many times didn't the light come on? Didn't the car start? Didn't the something? Damn, Mercury retrograde. And then you go, and you come right back, and now it's working. Mercury retrograde. So yeah, if anybody wants to come up and talk about it, we can. If not, I totally understand. We don't want to give her no more power. That's part of the ritual of evil, is giving it power, right? Talking about it. So maybe I should rescind the link. We don't have to talk about her. We don't have to. But I'll name off some other things that Giselle has done. Remember that she said all about the trash, all about the tea, had the rumor about Eddie cheating or something, and she repeated it on camera. That was another thing that happened off camera that they brought on camera. So Robin's whole thing about how her thing happened off camera, her and Giselle were sitting, she didn't stop her friend from doing that. So by proxy, you're involved. Silence is acceptance, bitch. So yeah, that's where I am with these two. They're just all kind of no good names. So the Eddie cheating article, she repeated that on camera, and then hit Chris with the sexual harassment and the sexual allegations claim. And what she's really mad about, I feel like, is she's mad about the dragging that Candiace also can give her. I'm telling you, it's all because Candiace uses words to fight. Ashley used the same words, but just wasn't as good at it. She was, and immediately went back to kissing her butt. Now, we do remember the one time that the devil, Giselle, tried to be mad at somebody because they brought somebody on the show who used to date Sherman or something. But we just named Karen's relationship, Ashley and Michael's relationship, Monique and Chris's relationship, Eddie and Wendy's relationship, Chris and Candiace's relationship. One time these bitches tried to get you back by bringing on somebody because you only have one thing to really hit you with, but because the binder was a flop, unfortunately, we didn't get to hear the stuff in there. We heard it in the YouTube streets, but we didn't get to hear it on the show. The way you brought all this stuff on these husbands to the show, to a globally syndicated show. You put out, you made shirts on television about raised taxes on a show. You said that that Monique's son's DNA was in question on a show. You said that Eddie was cheating on a show. You said that Chris sexually harassed and sexually allegated you on a show. And none of that stuff happened on the show. But now Robin gets to sit in front of us and say, it didn't happen on the show. It didn't happen on the show. It didn't happen on the show. Anyway, you guys, write your congressman about that other thing. There was something we were supposed to be writing our congressman about. Oh, that guy in that state. Check my Instagram stories. There's a guy in a state who went on a thing, and then he went on a thing, and he did that, and now they're not going to charge it as a hate crime, even though while he was doing it, he was saying the hard R. Yeah, that N-I-G, yeah, with the hard R, yeah, while he was committing the atrocity. But they're deciding that, yeah, it's not about that. It's not about that, even though that could get him like way more time and punishment. It's not about that. Okay. But like we already said earlier, had it been a word that starts with the letter. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So yes, I appreciate you guys for coming through, and I will see you in the next video. Make sure you smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. If you haven't already, ring my bell, and we'll talk about it again later. Right on. There's enough to go around.